Hi, my name is Anastasia. I'm making this video because I just feel like rambling and giving my thoughts on a few things. For to start, my my guilty pleasure lately has been, actually for the past few months now, has been Chinese dramas. And I really like Chinese dramas. There's especially the period dramas where it's like ancient times, then it's just like the Song Dynasty, Tang Dynasty, things that have like inspired these dramas. They're Most of them are fiction, but they're really good. Um, Most of them are like based on fictional stories, not like actual people. But I digress. The point is, I really like them, and the reason why I like them is not just because it's like ancient times. It's because they're visually stunning. If you look at a period drama, they always have these delicate silk hanfu dresses, and the men are finely dressed in brocade, like silk brocade, and it's just stunning. You want to rip it off of them and put it on yourself and be like, huh, I'm delicate and beautiful and stunning and whatever. You just want to be like there, um, because it's just so beautiful. But beyond that, it's got this the romance stories have got this Victorian-esque feel to it, where like men and women and society aren't like, you're not supposed to be touching each other casually. We're not supposed to be like putting our hands on each other, or anything like that. um, and that like builds tension of romance where people actually have to get to know each other instead of just like hopping into bed. And I really like that. Um, of course, most people do. Most women do. Of course, don't get me wrong. Uh, some of us, I mean, every once in a while, you get a really steamy scene, and you're like, "Yeah, that's where it's at. That's it right there." But but otherwise, no. It's all like, I think you're wonderful, and they, verbalizing your feelings instead of just, putting your hands on somebody and going straight for the kiss, um, because it's just improper. And I'm laughing about and smiling this entire time about the whole thing, but like, I am, I am, I am. The first time I've heard about it and read about it and watched videos on it, I was emotionally wrecked, like wrecked. I wasn't quite like bawling, but I could like, when your tears welled up to the point where you're snotty, but you just, instead of crying outwardly, you just you just get really snotty. You have to blow your nose. Yeah, that's where I was when I found out how uh Yue Menglong died. Uh, and of course you're like, who the heck is he? But if you watch Chinese dramas and Asian dramas on Netflix, there's several Chinese dramas on there that are like internationally broadcasted and things like that. And he's one of those famous actors in one of those international series. And well, what messed me up, what really had me emotionally like angry, outraged, and sad and disappointed was the way he died. He was basically tortured to death and then thrown out of a five-story building twice. Anyone with any flippin' sense, mentally, uh, people can be significantly and seriously injured when they fall out of like a seven-story building. Sure. But you don't die on impact immediately, commonly anything less than 10. So, besides the fact that they were abused him to death, the sheer fact that they threw him out of the building twice, it just it had me way, way beyond the emotional place. Um, where does this all start? Okay. Um, I really feel like, of course, Chinese netizens are very much upset and outraged about his whole death and things like that. And the call for justice was enormous, and they just could not believe that he was drunk and stumbled and fell out of the window. Absolutely not. Especially when there was CCTV um, audio and video of a man being hung outside of a window, screaming for his life, screaming for his life, and 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 it wasn't just like a CCTV outside your house type thing. There's videos of a CCTV being right outside his apartment building. You know, the expensive villa type apartment building, the hoity-toity place where the wealthy people live, screaming for his life. Oh my gosh. And like nobody coming to rescue him, nobody coming to look for his body or check on him or call an ambulance and send him to the hospital and things like that. It outrages me so much. And then beyond that, there was a short CCTV video of blocks away. Of a I don't even know if it's relevant or not, but I feel as though it is, and it isn't quite. It is an AI or some shit. You know, uh, it is an AI produced. Is of video is like, I would say one, two, three, oh, maybe even four blocks of apartment buildings away. They could hear him screaming for his life, and I got so mad. I got so upset. I'm like, if you hear somebody screaming for their life, usually you're supposed to call the authorities to come check that out, you know? And I can't possibly fathom how Chinese people don't have police in those neighborhoods, in the wealthiest neighborhoods. You don't have police. That is a significant question. I'm like, there's no way. Unless they were paid off. Unless the people in the building were so terrified, so horrified, and so terrified, or at the very least pissed off at the noise. I mean, I would be pissed off if I had work the next day, and call somebody to go take a look. Only for it to be video of him basically being murdered, and them only coming to discover his body in the morning type thing. That makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. The time scale and the math is just not adding up. There's something being covered up. And I know that's a lot to do with Chinese censorship in general. The culture of China is significant. There's things, for example, in the United States, there's plenty of things that I can't say that would get my video knocked down, get me fired from my job, completely ruin my livelihood, and or whatever it is I do, to make money and make ends meet, make a living. Um, but it's a little bit more tightly controlled in China, to the point where it ends up um, it ends up concealing a lot of significant things, and it's like, I don't know why it is so torturously strong. Um, because, in my humble opinion, the idea is you want your citizens to be able to be cool, calm, collected, and go along with society because society benefits everybody, right? Supposedly. But as it turns out, it's not benefiting significant members of society, even the ones that are supposed to be up the upper echelon, like creators. Um, uh, People who make millions of dollars in a very short amount of time. They're supposed to be protected members of society. Um, Everyone's supposed to be protected, but they are supposed to have access to more protection in society. And I would imagine that being the same thing, something homogenous, something that's like not just in the United States, but in other parts of the world. And apparently that's not the case. With all my love of Chinese dramas, I was like, oh, I should definitely travel one day to China, um, and see all the sights, and um, maybe meet some people, have like a meet and greet. Fans, they do things like that. Um, uh, but now I'm like, if my favorite actor or actress isn't safe, well, how can I possibly consider myself safe to travel in their country? For example, this Chinese media group, this agency, um, there's a few things that are very significant about them that really piss me off and would probably make anyone angry or concerned or just suspicious. Um, for example, I I don't even want to talk about the agency. Let's talk about something else. Yue Menglong. He is a talented actor. Was in many different series. Um, did He was such a gentle person. He said that if he didn't become an actor, he would have been a school teacher. Uh, there's very few people in this world who would just dive into that profession if they didn't have some sort of level of compassion and caring for other human beings, especially, of course, children, you know? And I feel like because of his gentle nature, um, he was targeted. Um, I feel as though the agency or whoever these bad actors are in that agency targeted him because, well, he was basically an only child by a single mother. He doesn't have a huge family. He has like one or two cousins, and that's it. Because his daddy died when he was a little boy, um, he was raised by his mom. He's probably a little softer, more effeminate, because when you are raised by a woman as a boy, you tend to be a little bit more soft spoken, a little bit more quick with your words, and a little bit more feminine in your physical expression and outward expression, because you've been raised to communicate with women. And beyond that, I mean, beyond that, beyond his gentle, maybe even feminine nature, he might have been homosexual. We don't know. I don't know. I'm not in his bedroom, but he was. There's lots of rumors and allegations and things like that he was, and that he was targeted by the main director and or manager of his agency, who was very much outspoken, out in the open homosexual, even though he's married. Um, and what else made him a huge target was probably the fact that he had to provide for himself and his a mom, and the contract he had to sign in order to get paid, and the amount of intimidation they and power the power dynamic was completely unequal between his management and him because of the slave contracts that he basically signed when he first signed on, as with an auto renewal clause. Like, what? What do you mean? Even if I don't sign the next one, you basically say that you get access to me regardless, and this is the only agency I could possibly work with. It's 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 too intimidating. I feel like all these factors made him a big target, and this bully of an agency is notorious. I'm sorry. If you've had 7 deaths over 10 years of young people, you should be concerned. If you're not directly concerned, the people in charge of this agency that oversight, and or just anyone connected to them should be like, what's going on in your office? What's going on? And it's all like, Kimi passed away, and there was another actor who was a monk, Shaolin, I think it was Shaolin monk, before he signed on, and he was also targeted, and he had a mysterious death as well. I just find that the whatever system they have in place is allowing their stars, their special people, to become, to be living life dangerously, to be living under constant fear of never being able to work again if they don't, turn a blind eye to things that are, to actual crimes that they may or may not witness. The whole death situation of Yue Menglong has made me, and I'm sure lots of Chinese netizens and just, American fans and probably Canadian fans, international fans, just so worried, like, especially anyone planning on traveling. Like, if your favorite stars aren't safe, how safe would you be just, um, going on vacation to China? I don't feel safe. If they can't feel safe, how am I supposed to feel safe? Because I could just be kidnapped and tortured, and then they say that I got drunk and fell out a window, only for them to turn around and a few weeks later saying that, oh, we've arrested someone, even though there's like eyewitness evidence and things of that nature of them going to a party and him being abused at that party, and nobody saying anything, nobody being arrested at that party, and then 11 people taking turns abusing him and nobody getting arrested in that ring of people who were abusing him, and only the person who supposedly killed him, directly killed him. I'm more than certain that there was abuse way before that, and there's plenty of crimes that were happening before he was murdered. So I just feel like the fact that there's only one arrest, only one person went down for a crime. There were several arrests, and lots of questioning, but only one person went down for his murder. And I don't believe, in my heart of hearts, that is the truth. There's no way. There's no way. It takes more than one person to hang you out of a window by your feet. I'm sorry. There needs to be more. There needs to be more accountability. There needs to be more, not just arrests, but convictions. Prosecution and convictions. there should have been 2 people at the very least for hanging him out of a window. I just don't believe it. I can't believe that he fell out of that window. He was hung out of that window and dropped. Anyways, you guys, I know you're probably just as mad as me. Thank you for watching, taking this long to watch my opinions and my ramblings and my thoughts and opinions on Yue Menglong's death and the mysterious deaths that have occurred in that Chinese media group, whose name I won't even mention because I don't even want to bother like attaching anything to that, attaching any of them to this, because I don't need this video more censored than it already will be. So yeah, I hope that we can see some more arrests, some more justice, and them not expect us to just, let it go. Because I'm not gonna let it go. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people who just don't let those kinds of things go. I might forget for a moment, but it's gonna come right back. And the feeling of outrage and anger and frustration and the desire for justice is gonna go right back. And I'll be right up here again running my mouth. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.